Most of the 7 levels of XYZ YouTube videos usually start at the worst and then gradually build it up to the best. But me, I'm gonna be doing the opposite because I'm special like that. Starting from the least chopped looking anime and ended with an anime equivalent of an ugly fetus that should have been aborted. Meaning the higher the level, the more chopped the anime is. So, here's the list starting with level 1. I'ma be honest, Sakamoto Days shouldn't even be on the list. Like, the only reason it's here is because of all the fans complaining that Sakamoto Days is as badly animated as Blue Lock. Every time a new episode dropped, fans of the show, mostly on Reddit, would tear the show apart like, oh, it doesn't have as much blood or some bullshit. But Sakamoto Days does have a problem. And no, it isn't a lack of animation because it is moving. In fact, it's actually quite good at times. Just not all the time, but it is decent objectively speaking. The main problem with Sakamoto Days is the art style they chose for this show. The greyish color that is present throughout the show brings a very bland vibe in an otherwise fun and comedic show, which kinda creates this dissonance and takes me out of the show a bit. The weird filter that just 10x's the already grey color, and it's not just the bland grey color palettes, it's also the weird way they blend colors. It feels like they just learned about the blending brush on Krita and overdid it like those weird DeviantArt OCs. One thing that could elevate the show is to just increase the color brightness, sharper color contrast, and get that weird ass filter out of that. And you're Gucci, it will bump up the rating of a 6 out of 10 adaptation to a 7 out of 10. But the flaws of this anime can be overlooked because even if the production values is not on par with the grades, what it does well is that it is consistent throughout the show, and because of it, rarely does it have weird out of place looking moments, and the direction of the story flows naturally. But unfortunately, I can't say the same for the next few animes. I was stoked and actually hyped for Ninja Kamui because word spread around that the director of Ninja Kamui directed a lot of the amazing action choreography for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1 and the movie, and God of High School. Look at them throwing hands. So with that info, you'd think Ninja Kamui would be good, at least in terms of action, right? And yes, you would be correct, because this was how the fights actually looked like. For the first few episodes. Yeah, let's all be honest, nobody was watching this anime for the story. Everyone tuned in for the newest episode just for the fights. But it isn't to say the story was atrocious per se, because the story was simple, very straightforward, gets the job done. But it is mainly used as a vehicle to show off insane fights. And insane fights we did have. For the first few episodes, it shifted focus from hand-to-hand combat to CGI robo sloppy fest, cause this shit is fucking hideous. We did have one hand-to-hand fight scene after having so many CG fights. And it was... What the fuck? Ninja Kamui has been renewed for season 2 and 3? No. It does not deserve a fucking sequel, let alone 2 sequels. I hate this world. The year is 2019. It was arguably the best season for anime. We had Dr. Stone Season 1, Demon Slayer Episode 19, Shield Hero, Love is War, I Have No Enemy Season 1, Fire Force, Furry Stars, the biggest year for Mirio Agenda. We also had Rent a Girlfriend Patient Zero, I'm talking about Domestic Girlfriend, and this weird ass anime called Sarazanmai. And the one to stand on top of them all, The Promised Neverland. The insane claustrophobic anxiety-filled scene when Norman walked into the bathroom, the camera works on that was f***ing amazing. The reveal at the end of episode 1, the way Emma, Norman and Ray had to outsmart these Winter Soldier nannies, and the way the characters written. Chef's kiss. And then, season 2 dropped. The significant reduce in animation quality was very noticeable, but if season 1 had a 10 out of 10 animation, season 2 would be a 6 or a 7. which is still decent, but season 2 was doing some weirdo shit. Like Emma and a bunch of other kids were outrunning a literal 20 feet tall 4-legged demon monster in a straight line. A lot of plot convenient shit that happens throughout the show. The way Mama switched up on the demon so abruptly. And you know what? I could have overlooked all that. Like I'd still dislike it, but I was willing to be the cuck in the chair witnessing my baby get railed with terrible pacing and writing. But that wasn't what broke me. What broke me was when I saw that PowerPoint presentation at the end. I couldn't take it anymore. On that day, I died. How the a whole fucking slideshow of what could have been 3 or more seasons of this show? It hurt seeing that, cause some of the panels looked kinda cool that I genuinely thought, fuck, I'm never seeing that in anime form now, will I? I never read the manga, but even as an anime only, this shit was so fucking ass. Apparently some of the directors and staff members didn't want any credit for this abomination, so they never had their names in the credits. I couldn't find the source for that information, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. When I tell you that Blue Lock changed my life, I am saying so without exaggeration. Hand on the Bible plugged to my ass. Blue Lock changed the way I approached life in terms of mindset and work ethic. Other animes have done that too, but none were as long lasting as Blue Lock's story. So right after catching up to season 1, I read the manga, and now Blue Lock is in my top 5 of all time. So what the fuck? I won't talk about the whole one guy animated the entire season allegations bullshit in this video. I already covered that, you should check this one out. Right now, I'm gonna be emotionally ranting about the series. Blue Lock has god-tier art and panels. It can rival some of the best the industry has to offer when it comes to art. But I don't expect a god-tier production for Blue Lock. It would be nice, but what I expected was an adaptation to the level season 1 had. Although the first 12 episodes is where most of the budget went, but still, the rest of the show after episode 12 was still passable because during the important moments, they stepped up when they needed to. Season 2 on the other hand, just made me want to Michael Kaiser myself. A lot of the downtime moments where their talking was decent, it wasn't all just frames, but the action though, oh my god. But I had hope. Even before the Nagi goal, I had hope. It wasn't cope because I was right all along, I just couldn't prove it, that's all. Hope isn't such a bad thing, but honest to god, I had never coped this hard in my entire life. Felt like my immunity system was reaching to a breaking point, and then we got a sign. Again and again. Bro, I was ecstatic. Aside from the goals, everything was still ass, but I was still ecstatic nonetheless. And then, the cinematic masterpiece happened. Copium paid off. You know what they say, 99% of the gamblers quit just before they hit big. I now hope and pray that I don't gotta huff copium to this extent for season 3 again, cause that would literally break my mental. One Punch Man. The first Demon Slayer episode 19 before Demon Slayer episode 19. Before anime became this juggernaut that it is today, anime wasn't really a common thing to talk about, but everyone knew One Punch Man. I know guys from the boonies who never heard of the word anime still know what One Punch Man is and are currently watching season 3 as we speak. Animation, direction or any of these technical terms don't really matter to them at all because the show they fell in love with was about the story of a man who wanted to be a hero, fights monsters through the powers he had earned. Not me though. I'm gonna start complaining. Imagine being a One Punch Man fan watching season 3 in the same season as My Hero Academia final season is being aired. That shit would give me an itch on the roof of my mouth only a shotgun could scratch. I do understand that though, because I am One Punch Man fans. We've all seen the Garo slide, Garo's instant teleportation, Royal Ripper growing tits as a man, and I don't personally see a lot of people talk about this, but the way some of these scenes are just fucking dragged out. Yeah, they're really testing us with this shit. For example, this scene in episode 1 at 2 minutes and 20 seconds mark, they were panning this frame alone for 20 seconds straight. And to trick us into thinking that it has some animation, they legit just blurred the background characters. I wish I was making this up. In episode 2, some protesters were talking and the camera just panned around still images for 40 seconds. What the 40 seconds straight, and they did it again at episode 3. And the problem isn't just the animation, it's the rapid fast forward acceleration speed some of these scenes are delivered that took me out of the show. As much as I have complained about the show, credit where credit's due. One Punch Man season 3 has arguably the best art style in the series. It is at least on par with season 1's art style. Aoki, I'm not sure what his full name is, but apparently some of the scenes that actually look good is because of him. He's single-handedly responsible for those. Yeah, there was a weird-ass frame of Royal Ripper having tits and the reused lightsaber IS. Aside from that, the rest of the fight actually looked pretty fucking good. The way Garo countered Royal Ripper's attack, the dialogue over the fight scene, and the entire overall fight was actually pretty good. Not good for One Punch Man, but it was actually just straight up good. And then we go back to characters teleporting around. Yeah, you can hate on a show, but like, dude, what the fuck are you guys doing? Actively supporting and encouraging harassment of JC staff members? It's just a fucking goddamn cartoon. It's never that serious. Holy hell, some of you don't deserve things in life. Some say Bandai Namco is at fault, but I can't be certain if that's the case because it feels like everyone just heard it from everyone else and so all echoed the same feelings, and I don't want to say something unless I'm 100% sure. But regardless of Bandai Namco was at fault or not, just criticize the thing and don't harass the people making the thing. Separate the art from the artist. It's why I still listen to D4VD. At the time when the show was airing, I didn't really watch it. I was busy watching a lot of other shows, but after watching the first 3 episodes for this video, I can say this with certainty that everyone is lying to you when they say that this anime is just a PPT. Because let me show you this. Does this look like a slideshow to you? The power after the point actually has a decent story, almost resembling Mushoku Tensei in the start. Even as a non-mano reader, I could tell that they skipped over some stuff which isn't egregious but still somewhat noticeable. But that isn't really a problem. The problem it has is the exact opposite of One Punch Man, where One Punch Man has zero budget in characters walking and talking, but has some animation for fights. The beginning after the end put all of their $10 budget in animating them walking and talking, but zero budget for the fights. On top of being a nightmare fuel for anyone with eyes, a petition to remake the anime while it was still airing episode 2 was making rounds. This shit took me out when I found out about it. I think level 5 and 6 can be interchanged because the way One Punch Man's story is told feels so f***ing butchered, but the story of beginning after the end was actually quite good unironically, and the pacing of the show doesn't feel as awkward as One Punch Man. I guess I'm gonna keep it here since we're mainly focused on the animation and to an extent the art style. And now, the final boss of chopped animations. Remember how I said that beginning after the end put all of their budgets into walking and talking? Yeah, this anime doesn't even have that. I read the manga years before the anime got announced. I was stoked about it, only to see this ass shit. When people say Blue Lock manga has more frames than the anime, there's a bit of irony in that. But when I tell you that this is a moving manga, I legitimately mean it. This is genuinely a moving colored manga with voice acting and music. This is a glorified children's pop-up books. I'm not asking for fucking red lights levels of animation, just a regular slice of life generic anime adaptation would have sufficed, because this story really only requires that. But I have seen some people that say that the art and animation is charming, endearing, and blah blah blah. Don't lie to yourself. You are allowed to express your pain. No one will hurt you for it. Unless you're Queen Bee, then I'll start throwing hands, because they ruined some of my favorite H mangas, dude. They probably had a hand in the makings of this anime, because look at this shit. Ugh.
Police steady watching me. Every day they clocking me.
Making this video had me re-experiencing old and forgotten traumas again, so you better sub and give this video a like. And if you enjoyed this video, I might do another one. Or if you have any anime in mind I should review, do comment them below. Till next time, see ya.